Imagine if you could look inside your blood vessels right this second and watch a highly trained biological security team quietly neutralizing threats before they ever disrupt your life. Imagine realizing that this entire protective mechanism doesn't require an expensive subscription, a handful of prescription medications, or an agonizing overhaul of your daily routine. Instead, it relies on small, almost unnoticeable shifts that you can initiate this afternoon. It is completely natural to feel a bit overwhelmed when thinking about your health as the years pass, and it is normal to worry about what is happening beneath the surface. But please take a deep breath because you have far more control over your biology than you have been led to believe. The medical establishment often frames aging as an inevitable downward slide toward illness, backed by alarming data showing that after we cross the threshold of 60, our natural defenses encounter unprecedented challenges. Yet, what if the true key to longevity isn't a rare drug, but an unseen set of switches already built into your cellular architecture? My name is Dr. Elena Cross. Over the past 16 years as a specialist in geriatric oncology and preventive lifestyle medicine, I have walked alongside thousands of individuals navigating their 60s, 70s, and 80s. My life's work has not been about chasing symptoms with a prescription pad after a crisis has occurred. It has been about understanding the precise cellular environments that allow some individuals to remain vibrant, active, and completely disease-free well into their twilight years while others struggle. I am not here to pitch you a quick fix, a miracle supplement, or a trendy fitness regime. My goal is to translate the profound, quiet language of your cells into practical, actionable strategies that cost absolutely nothing. When we look at the broader landscape of modern medical research, particularly public health tracking systems compiled over decades by institutions like the Harvard Public Health Networks and major oncology journals, a deeply encouraging truth emerges. The data shows us that our genetic destiny is not set in stone. In fact, large-scale population studies monitoring over 100,000 older adults for more than 20 years have conclusively demonstrated that individuals who adopt a specific framework of daily habits experience massive drops in overall disease incidence, sometimes by more than 60%. That is not a minor statistical variance. That is a profound testament to the power of lifestyle modification. It represents the physical difference between spending your golden years in waiting rooms or spending them traveling, playing with grandchildren, and living independently. Before we unpack these life-altering shifts, I want to establish a quick moment of connection with you. Please take a second to type your current age into the comments section below, along with the single biggest health concern you find yourself thinking about these days. I personally read through these discussions, and understanding exactly who is sitting across from me behind the screen helps me tailor these deep dive explanations to serve your daily life. Let us begin with our fifth foundational shift, which revolves around an everyday habit that many well-meaning adults completely misinterpret. The common misconception. Many individuals over 60 believe that as long as they are maintaining a stable weight and avoiding outright junk food like fast food burgers or sugary sodas, eating prepackaged health foods such as low-calorie deli meats, store-bought bran muffins, whole grain crackers, or packaged protein bars is perfectly fine for their longevity. The cellular mechanism. Inside your body, your cells are continuously duplicating. Every single day, millions of cell divisions occur to keep your tissues renewed. In a youthful body, an elite cellular proofreading system called DNA mismatch repair scans these new genetic sequences, instantly snipping out copying errors before they can develop into cellular mutations. However, as we cross the age of 60, the natural efficiency of these proofreading enzymes drops by roughly 30 to 40%. Your body's internal editors become fatigued just as decades of environmental wear and tear have accumulated the most errors. When you consume highly processed foods, even the ones labeled as healthy or diet, you flood your system with advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These inflammatory compounds act like a thick fog over your cellular proofreading machinery, binding to your DNA repair enzymes and physically preventing them from fixing genetic typos. When these typos go uncorrected, mutated cells are allowed to replicate unchecked. Major epidemiological tracking projects, such as those published in the European Journal of Nutrition and by National Cancer Research Institutes, have tracked hundreds of thousands of adults to show that high consumption of these highly processed convenience foods correlates with a drastically elevated risk of digestive and systemic malignancies, completely independent of a person's weight or smoking status. The processing itself alters the cellular signaling. The simple, cost-free solution. You do not need to adopt an impossibly restrictive diet or spend a fortune at specialty organic grocery stores. The solution is a simple, singular rule of substitution. Replace just one highly processed item from each of your meals with a single ingredient whole food. If your breakfast routinely features a boxed diet cereal or packaged toast, substitute it with plain old-fashioned rolled oats cooked in water and topped with a handful of fresh or frozen berries. If your lunch includes processed deli turkey or packaged sandwich slices, swap them out for a hard-boiled egg or leftover home-roasted chicken. If your evening snack is a sleeve of multigrain crackers, reach instead for a crisp apple or a small handful of raw walnuts. You are not depriving yourself. You are giving your DNA repair enzymes a clear, unpolluted environment to do their vital work. Moving forward, our fourth critical shift addresses a pillar of health that is frequently dismissed as a luxury rather than a matter of clinical necessity. The common misconception: it is highly common to hear adults in their 60s and 70s say, "I only need 5 or 6 hours of sleep now. Waking up multiple times or sleeping less is just a normal, harmless part of getting older." The cellular mechanism. Sleep is not merely a passive rest period for your brain. It is the exact window when your immune system launches a highly sophisticated defensive operation known as immunosurveillance. Your body deploys a specialized army of white blood cells known as natural killer, or NK cells. These remarkable cells patrol your bloodstream like an internal security force, physically identifying abnormal, damaged, or pre-malignant cells, attaching to them, and injecting specialized enzymes that dissolve them before they can form a mass. This crucial patrolling process is strictly regulated by your circadian biology, specifically relying on the deep, slow-wave sleep stages that occur during the first half of the night. As we age past 60, our bodies naturally lose about half of our deep sleep capacity. When you compound this natural decline by voluntarily sleeping less than 6 hours a night, your NK cell activity drops precipitously by as much as 70% after just a brief period of sleep restriction. Without these cellular sentries on duty, mutated cells can evade detection and establish a foothold. Extensive sleep health data published in major experimental medicine journals and by international health agencies confirms that chronic short sleep duration in older adults is powerfully linked to a heightened risk of colon, breast, and prostate malignancies. The simple, cost-free solution. To fix this, you do not need expensive sleeping pills, which can alter your sleep architecture and decrease deep sleep even further. Instead, implement a concept known as anchor sleep by committing to a rigid, unvarying wake-up time every single morning, 7 days a week, regardless of how well you think you slept the night before. Your wake-up time anchors your master circadian clock far more effectively than your bedtime. Pair this with a free evening wind-down routine. Dim your living space lights by half at 9 p.m. Turn off all television screens and smartphones which emit blue light that tricks your brain into thinking it is daytime, and lower your bedroom temperature slightly if possible. Keeping a consistent rhythm trains your brain to plunge deeper into those restorative slow wave stages, revitalizing your immune surveillance team without costing you a single penny. This brings us beautifully to our third shift, which redefines how we view physical activity as we mature. The common misconception. Many seniors believe that because they suffer from minor joint pain, arthritis, or low stamina, they cannot perform the intense, sweaty gym workouts or long cardio sessions they assume are required to radically protect their health, so they settle for a mostly sedentary lifestyle. The cellular mechanism. Your body produces a powerful hormone known as insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. In our youth, IGF-1 is vital because it drives the rapid growth of bones, muscles, and tissues. However, after the age of 60, when our bodies are no longer growing, having chronically high levels of circulating IGF-1 becomes problematic. When you sit for hours at a time, your muscles stop drawing glucose from your blood, causing your insulin and IGF-1 levels to skyrocket. This elevated hormone acts like an unintended fertilizer, signaling damaged or mutated cells to divide rapidly and encouraging them to develop their own blood supplies. Conversely, moving your body regularly suppresses baseline IGF-1 and simultaneously activates a miraculous genetic protector called the p53 protein, frequently termed the guardian of the genome. The p53 protein acts as an emergency brake inside your cells, ordering damaged cells to halt replication or undergo self-destruction. Large-scale longitudinal evaluations published in prominent clinical oncology journals show that adults who consistently break up sedentary time have dramatically lower rates of recurring or new cellular abnormalities. The simple, cost-free solution. You do not need a gym membership, specialized weights, or painful exercise routines. Your practical solution is to introduce a gentle 20-minute stroll immediately following your largest meal of the day. Clinical assessments show that walking right after eating significantly blunts the post-meal blood sugar and insulin spikes that otherwise fuel abnormal cellular metabolism. If you are housebound or dealing with severe joint issues, simply make it a habit to stand up and gently stretch or walk in place for 3 to 5 minutes every single hour while reading or watching television. This simple act of breaking up prolonged sitting keeps your metabolic markers low and keeps the p53 guardian protein actively protecting your tissues. Now, let us examine our second crucial shift, which addresses an element of wellness that is too often brushed aside as a mental issue rather than a physical emergency. The common misconception. Many older adults believe that psychological stress, worry, or unresolved life anxieties are simply uncomfortable emotional states that have no direct bearing on serious physical illness, or they assume that since they are retired, their daily background worries don't affect their internal biology. The cellular mechanism. When you experience persistent, low-grade psychological stress, whether from loneliness, grief, family worries, or systemic anxiety, your adrenal glands continuously secrete a hormone called cortisol. While temporary cortisol spikes are vital for survival, chronic elevation alters your cellular microenvironment completely. Prolonged high cortisol levels directly suppress the expression of your body's primary tumor-suppressing genes, specifically the BRCA1 and BRCA2 pathways, which are responsible for repairing double-stranded breaks in your DNA. At the same time, chronic stress activates an inflammatory master switch in your cells known as nuclear factor kappa B, or NFKB. When NFKB is constantly switched on, it releases a flood of inflammatory cytokines that protect damaged cells from apoptosis, the natural process of programmed cell death. Essentially, chronic stress tells your body to keep dangerous, broken cells alive when they should be systematically destroyed. Extensive immunology studies from major research universities have shown that older adults with high chronic stress markers display a near 50% reduction in the ability of their lymphocytes to infiltrate and neutralize threats, leaving them far more vulnerable to systemic health challenges. The simple, cost-free solution. Managing this does not require hiring an expensive therapist or moving to a remote meditation retreat. You can naturally lower your baseline cortisol through a simple, cost-free breathing practice called the 4-7-8 technique, performed twice daily. Every morning before you look at the news or start your day, sit comfortably, inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4 seconds, hold your breath firmly for a count of 7 seconds, and exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound for a count of 8 seconds. Repeat this cycle just 4 times. Clinical trials show that this specific breath pacing instantly stimulates the vagus nerve, triggering a parasympathetic response that lowers blood pressure, downregulates cortisol production, and allows your DNA repair pathways to resume normal operation. Finally, we arrive at our number 1 most transformative shift, a practice that coordinates and amplifies every single mechanism we have discussed so far. The common misconception. For decades, we have been told that seniors must eat multiple small meals throughout the day, snacking from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to bed to keep their energy levels steady and prevent metabolism slowdowns. The cellular mechanism. When your body is constantly digesting food, your cells are permanently locked into a state of growth and nutrient sensing. This means they are focused entirely on absorbing nutrients, building proteins, and expanding. While this sounds positive, it leaves your cells with zero time to perform essential internal maintenance. When you give your digestive tract a prolonged rest, your body triggers a deeply elegant biological process known as autophagy. The word autophagy literally translates to self-eating, and it represents your body's ultimate internal cellular recycling system. During autophagy, your cells create specialized structures that hunt down broken proteins, degraded mitochondria, and mutated cellular fragments, dragging them into cellular incinerators to be broken down into clean energy. It is the ultimate biological deep clean. However, if you are snacking every few hours, your insulin levels remain constantly elevated, which completely paralyzes the signals required to initiate autophagy. As we pass 60, our baseline accumulation of cellular debris is high. If we never activate this recycling mechanism, our tissues become congested with damaged components that can easily mutate. Leading metabolic laboratories have shown that introducing a reliable window of digestive rest activates a sweeping clearance of these pre-malignant elements. The simple, cost-free solution. Implementing this requires no special meal kits, no calorie tracking, and no dietary deprivation. It simply requires you to adopt a gentle 12 to 12 or 14 to 10 time-restricted eating window. This means you compress your daily food intake into a 10 or 12-hour period, leaving the remaining 12 to 14 hours for pure cellular restoration. For example, if your first morning cup of coffee with cream or your breakfast occurs at 8 a.m., ensure that your final bite of dinner or evening dessert is entirely finished by 8 p.m., or better yet, 6 p.m. Outside of that designated eating window, you consume absolutely nothing except plain water, unsweetened herbal tea, or black coffee. Your body takes care of the rest, automatically shifting away from constant nutrient processing and plunging into a deep, protective autophagic cleanse that naturally lowers your risk profile. When we step back and look at these 5 shifts as a complete system, a beautiful pattern of biological synergy emerges. By stepping away from highly processed foods, you remove the chemical fog that blinds your DNA proofreaders. By protecting your anchor sleep, you revitalize the natural killer cells needed to hunt down mutated cells. By adding a simple post-meal walk, you lower the IGF-1 hormone that acts as a fertilizer for abnormal growth. By practicing a simple breathing exercise, you lower the cortisol that blocks your tumor suppressor genes, and by adopting a time-restricted eating window, you ignite the deep autophagic cleanup that sweeps away damaged cellular debris before it can ever cause harm. These are not isolated, trendy wellness tips. They are an integrated, evidence-based biological strategy designed to keep you thriving. I want you to hear this from me clearly, not just as an educational voice, but with the full weight of my 16 years of clinical experience. It is never too late to begin. Your body is not a static machine that simply wears out over time. It is a dynamic, living ecosystem that responds immediately to the conditions you create within it. The cells inside your organs right now are waiting for your instructions. Every morning you open your eyes, you are handed a fresh opportunity to rewrite your biological trajectory, reduce systemic inflammation, and claim a clean bill of health. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with one final question to ponder. Out of the 5 simple, cost-free lifestyle habits we explored today, which specific one do you feel most ready to implement in your own routine starting tomorrow morning? Let me know your choice in the comments below. And if you found genuine value in this deep dive, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it directly with someone you love who is navigating life over 50 or 60. Please remember that the information provided in this video is strictly for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute formal medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, and does not establish a doctor-patient relationship between us. It is absolutely vital that you consult with your primary care physician, oncologist, or qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, sleep hygiene, or physical activity routines, especially if you have pre-existing medical conditions, are taking prescription medications, or are currently undergoing medical treatment. Always seek the advice of your own doctor regarding any questions you may have about a medical condition.